And we're live. Welcome back to the LOOPcast. It's Tom, Eric, and Josh. The whole gang is here today. The LOOPcast, of course, brought to you by The Loop, every American Catholic's favorite morning newsletter. It's a beautiful Monday. Happy to be back live with everyone. We got a great show prepared. There's a massive rally in New York City Saturday, I believe, and early voting has begun. Sorry, that was Sunday?
Yeah, just yesterday, believe it or not.
Wow. I watched some interviews with both the main candidates, and by main candidates, I mean Curtis Sliwa and Zohran Mamdani. I think Cuomo. Josh, maybe you have thoughts on Cuomo. I don't. He represents everything everyone hates about politics. So I can't believe he's still in the race, but this is where we're at. So I had Erica go get some information. Where are we in the race? And I think Mamdani is kind of seen as the heir apparent to the Democratic Party. What does that mean for national politics? What does that mean for the future of the party? Who knows? We're going to get into it. Next, I promised Erica could talk about the schism happening in the Anglican Church, our separated sister. Thanks, King Henry. But we are going to talk a little bit about that. And then finally, I wanted to get into a little bit of Republican college activism. I saw some interesting thought pieces, and then there's actually one who was denounced for inflammatory rhetoric over at Boston College. So I'd like to address that. But of course, we got good news. We got Twilight Zone. We got, you know how it goes here in the LOOPcast. We have a good time. Before we get into that, Erica.
It is all made possible by Nazareth Organics. We have From God's Hand to Your Skin. Nazareth Organics is a Catholic family-owned skincare company that handcrafts premium balms and serums using clean ingredients from nature. They just released a new product this month, the Brightening Serum. Composed of oils rich in vitamin C, like sea buckthorn and kakadu plum. I love just saying those words. This light yet hydrating blend is designed to brighten your complexion and promote an even skin tone. The brightening serum will leave your skin feeling refreshed with a dewy glow every morning. Also, try Nazareth Organics Original Tallow Balm, infused with frankincense and myrrh, a powerhouse combo fit for a king, proven to calm inflammation and revitalize your skin. Or try their Sleep Balm, a magnesium tallow blend with magnesium sourced from the ancient Zechstein seabed that helps your body relax into a peaceful sleep. I'm going to go off script just for a second. I was very under the weather this weekend, and I have to say that sleep balm did the trick. It felt so good. So, personal testimony. St. Paul tells us that our bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit and must be cared for. You are not your own. You were bought with a price. So glorify God with your body. Visit nazareth-organics.com and use code LOOPcast at checkout.
Awesome. And welcome to Ricardo, new member of the live chat. We go here live 11 a.m. Eastern time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And guess what? If you would like, for whatever reason, I don't know why anyone would want to do this, but maybe work for Josh Mercer. We have 4 job openings currently on the channel. So I'm going to share the screen here. I'll go over CatholicVote.org/jobs. That's where you can find that. And listen, you listen to the show, you enjoy what we do here. You want to get in the trenches with us here at Catholic Vote. You can do so right now. We have a chief development officer job. We have a news writer on the West Coast. We have a digital creative specialist. I think that's like graphic design. And then an affiliate and sponsorship marketing manager. 4 great jobs.
Very fun.
I personally know everyone who posted these jobs who you'd be working for. They're all fantastic. I don't have enough good things to say about people in this organization. So if you want to come work with us, go check that out. Go apply. Would love to get these roles filled with people ready to get after it. So, and also a big shout out to me for putting this up for the HR team. So huge shout out.
Yay, me. Men posting their W's. That's you, Pogo, right there.
Yeah, dudes posting their W's is one of my favorite accounts of all time.
I love that.
So Erica, what's going on in New York City? Basically, what's going on?
It's the end. This is just the end of New York City. We have the polls are open in New York City for early voting for the mayoral race. And over the weekend, as you mentioned up top, on Sunday, Mamdani rallied about 13,000 supporters, which is kind of huge for a mayoral election. They were over at the stadium in Queens. And there he once again did his shtick. He's going to give us free. He's going to give us rent freezes for 2 million New Yorkers, free universal childcare, free buses on every line. He was joined by Democrat Party leaders, Bernie Sanders, of course, the beautiful AOC, Governor Kathy Hochul was there also paying her obeisance. And he highlighted how his campaign was grassroots. He was up against the big guys, Andrew Cuomo and Republican Curtis Sliwa, and how he had drawn record early voting numbers.
To be fair to him, he was polling at 1% not long ago.
It's true. It's true.
That's what he deserves too.
That's about what he deserves. How did he pull out of that? A much more interesting story. But yeah, I have a couple clips here. Maybe we should just start up top with Josh's favorite. Maybe we can.
Oh yeah, Josh specifically requested this one to be shown.
Special moment.
This is Congresswoman AOC.
Yeah, sorry, it's a little quiet.
She's at the
We must remember, in a time such as this, we are not the crazy ones, New York City. We are not the outlandish ones, New York City. They want us to think we are crazy. We are sane.
I mean,
that's an awesome.
Say it, you know.
Oh my goodness.
Say 3 times. No.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Ooh. Thank you so much.
What's the line from Shakespeare? The woman doth protest too much.
Yeah. Typically sane people don't have to say it 3 times that they're sane. But let's just say, there's other craziness. But I hate to say it. I'm actually kind of interested in this because.
Yeah.
So this is a guy. He just shows up to the country not long ago. He actually can't become president. He wasn't born here.
Right.
He comes to New York City, the
Thank
largest.
God for small favors.
Well, that's actually one of his advantages too. I saw him on the speaking trail. He's like, "Look, I have no larger ambitions. I want to make a great New York City," which is smart. He's clearly well spoken. He's running a slip campaign. I think his mom was involved in Disney, so like he has advantages for sure. But listen, there's other people in this race. Cuomo had tons of name appeal. Say whatever you want about his past. I mean, it's terrible, but he had the name appeal. It's by all metrics institutionalized.
Yeah.
Why is he successful? Why has no one been able to take him out? Seriously, that's a real question. I think that needs to be answered.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy. So I looked into who loves him. Okay, he's up by double digits in all polls. I have all the polls here listed up at the New York Times. Double digits everywhere. I mean, this is sort of a gimme at this point. His strongest support comes from, no surprise, the very, very most leftist voters, very liberal voters. He takes 78% of that demographic, alongside voters under the age of 30. So he's appealing to the younger crowd. He takes 67% of voters under 30. Democrats, 63%. So Cuomo is not even in his home. Cuomo's running as an independent because he didn't win the Democratic nomination, but he is a Democrat. So just to put it there. But he's taking 63% of them. And to my shame, women under the age of 45, 62% are going with Mamdani. It was interesting too. I looked into what are New Yorkers saying their top problem is. 25% are saying crime, no surprise, whereas 20% say cost of living. Another 16% say housing. So if you combine that cost of living and the housing numbers there, Mamdani is speaking direct. He's promising salvation directly for those 2 problems in particular. The cost of living with, government-run grocery stores, subsidized, and housing. He's going to have subsidized
rent
housing.
Freeze is the marquee, yeah.
The rent freeze and the free buses, free transportation around the city. So he's speaking directly to those concerns in a very leftist way. And I was looking into the demographics of New York City here because New York's been blue, right? It's just always. When was the last time?
Like
Republican?
Navy.
Navy.
It's actually not as much as you'd think, but yeah, like not like a California, but for sure.
So
well, I mean, there are pockets of red with you got some Jewish voters, some Catholic voters, or whatever. So I mean, there's some, but
a very small minority. They're a minority. So I was looking at the demographic shift that we've seen in the last 7 to 10 years. What could explain Mamdani's sort of meteoric rise, right? And you said from the 1% too, he's double digits in the lead everywhere. So I looked into this. The city has seen an accelerating flight of wealthy residents since 2018, basically. The exodus has really destabilized the city's finances. So if you look at the IRS and census migration data, that notes that high income earners, especially those making over $1 million annually, have taken roughly $14 billion in taxable income with them over the last 7 years, largely relocating to red states like Florida, Texas, and the Carolinas. The top 1% of New Yorkers today contribute more than 40% of all city income tax revenue. So when Hochul's up there and Mamdani's up there and they're chanting tax the rich, they're doing it. They're doing that. But modest losses among the affluent then redound astronomically on the city's budget. And there's major holes there. So that's been a factor. Families have left. This was crazy to me. There were 99,000 babies born in the city in 2021 and 2022, that fiscal year. The fewest in any year since the late 1890s. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
And families have fled as well. So you have the affluent leaving, you have families leaving who typically vote a little more conservative, even if they're Democrats. Meanwhile, immigration has been nuts. We have more than 230,000 migrants arrived in New York City in just the last 3 years. It's the largest immigration wave in American history, even larger than we think of the Irish coming in and the Italians coming in the 1800s.
Yeah.
And at the same time, so we have the demographic shift to be much more Mamdani friendly. Then we also have the fact that, according to the New York Times, last year, 1 in 4 New Yorkers could not afford basic necessities. They couldn't pay for their medical, their housing, and their groceries, day-to-day living. So they had to have some form of support.
Can I pause you for a second?
Yeah, go for it.
So did you just suggest to me that people moved out of New York City, not enough people are having babies, and then foreign-born people have taken over majority population of the city?
Yeah, and that you've lost the affluent. You're losing the affluent, and you're gaining the lower.
So saying those facts
and
suggesting, I don't know, like something like a great replacement theory that's racist and
right. No, I'm a terrible
incorrect
racist
and crazy conspiracy theorist. I
Islamophobic
mean, like, it's just hilarious. We have to dance around this.
No, let's be clear. What I'm suggesting is we are primed for a socialist revolution, which is what we're seeing.
Wait, dig into that. What do you
dig
mean
into
time for a
that. So, I
socialist
mean, if you
revolution?
go back, who does socialism most appeal to? So, and you look back at like the Bolsheviks and the Russian Revolution, the October Revolution there, and it's October. But you're looking at a population that is increasingly unable to afford necessities, that is dependent upon either the charity of those around them, which we know is evaporated in blue states, or on the state for support. And then you get these candidates who come in and promise them the sun and the moon and the stars. They're like, we're going to give you free everything. Everything is free. And how will we get the money to pay for it? Well, if they even ask that question, which a lot of desperate people don't even ask the question. They're like, give me the free stuff. I don't care what, if someone's paying for it, what? But we'll get it by taxing the people that you see walking down the street in their heels with their little Pekingese dogs and their little like Gucci bags, and you hate them. We're going to take from the haves. We're going to get it to you. It's going to be Robin Hood all over again. And that massively appeals to people. And that's what we're seeing. It's the conditions of a Bolshevik revolution. That's my theory. But Josh probably has a better, more nuanced.
I mean, the thing is with New York City, it makes it a little bit different than, let's say, Detroit or LA or Philadelphia, is that you have had for the last 125 years or so the finance capital of the world there. Mm-hmm. And there are just a lot of benefits to that. And what that amounts to is, again, it's like you have to be careful. So what politicians and voters in New York City have done is kept raising taxes, right? And of course, we have a federal income tax. We have a lot of states like Michigan. I live in Michigan as a state income tax. So does New York. Mm-hmm. But the city of New York City as well has an income tax. And so you're just layering on taxes. And it gets really expensive, and it's expensive to live there. And so, you get people trust fund babies or whatever. Sarah from Ohio moves to, New York City, and she's a big fan of it. And you get a flood of immigrants. And so you've got this bifurcated city. And it's like, well, just keep raising taxes. The thought is, well, what are the billionaires going to move out of town? Because there's such an advantage in Manhattan with Wall Street and all the financial district to stay there, but it's not inevitable. And I can tell you, my brother works in finance out of Minneapolis, and they've got an office in New York City, and they're always looking. And if this communist wins New York City, they're like, you're going to see a flood of capital move to Florida, and maybe it'll be Miami that'll be the new financial capital. because people are sick of it. It's like you keep cranking up the temperature. Oh, we can just keep bleeding these people. But what happens if a millionaire moves out? Then there goes your,
all his taxable income, right?
Exactly. So,
well, and I think
they're going to kill the golden goose is what they're going to do.
Yeah, something really interesting. Downtown Manhattan, and I've been down there a couple of times since the pandemic. I have friends who take the train. They're crazy. I mean, they take like a 2-hour train ride every day to get down there from here. But they get down there and they're saying it never really got back to what it was before the pandemic. And what COVID showed a lot of these companies as well is you don't actually have to have a footprint in New York. You don't have to have a physical building in Manhattan to continue to do your business. So it was one of the kind of silverish linings, maybe a bronze gold plated lining of the pandemic, that some of these companies, they're still there. They still have that office building. But like you said, Josh, they also know that they can continue to do business even without that physical footprint. So that's hanging over them as well, is that possibility now seems very real, because they had to do it during the pandemic. They had to figure out how to continue to make money.
Yeah, but we had
downtown
there's customs and mores that have been established. Like you go to your 9-to-5 job in an office building, but then people started realizing after COVID, like
Madison Avenue, right?
So long as I'm plugged in and I have the information and I can video stream from wherever, why do I want to spend this much money in a downtown office in Manhattan? When maybe we only need 3 people there or 2 people. Why do we need 100 there? Like, this is dumb. Let's be somewhere else. And so,
right.
Again, I think they are going to kill the golden goose. And now there's a big discussion amongst conservative leaning folks who are worried about a communist being elected as the mayor of New York City. And like, you got to support Cuomo, and Silva's got no chance and all this other stuff. And I just can't help but laugh at all this. I mean, I do feel bad for the people who are living there. It is a terrible situation. So I'm not laughing at in a sort of a cruel manner, but the thing is, Cuomo was governor of New York, and he told conservatives and pro-lifers to get the heck out of his state, that they weren't welcome here. Right. And now he's in a situation where he needs voters who are more conservative than he is in order to get elected mayor. Now, you would think to yourselves, all it would take is a little bit of humble pie, right? Just to say, you know what, I maybe I went a little too far with that. Sorry about that. I want to be a mayor for all of New Yorkers.
Sorry for killing your grandma.
Yeah, no.
Well, not even that. Literally, he said he thought conservatives and Republicans and pro-lifers should leave the state. And now you're needing them to vote for you, but you won't even ask for their vote. You won't offer any olive branch, any fig leaf of thing, like something. And since you're not doing it, then there's a lot of people who are like, well, you're not going to win anyway, so I'll just vote for Silva as a protest against you. People are like, no, we got to vote for. Like, guys, it's already over. Like, yeah. You still have to vote, but it would take a monumental miracle because people are already voting. Cuomo had the chance to try to win over voters. I don't blame Silva. People are like, Silva needs to drop out.
No, I like Silva.
No. If you, first of all, I don't have a dog in this hunt, but this idea that somebody has to drop out, like, no, it is incumbent upon the person who you want to win win over voters. Okay. George W. Bush did it in 2000 when Pat Buchanan was the Reform Party nominee. He was trying to appeal to conservatives, but George Bush is like, he won the vote. Now he ended up being a terrible president, whatever. But like, Cuomo's got to go out there and he's got to win the votes. And if he did a great job and if he showed a little humility and he showed he could bring people together in different coalitions and maybe apologize for going a little too crazy with the COVID stuff, he actually might have had a chance, a path to victory. Because Eric Adams dropped out and he endorsed you, all these things, but he blew it. Cuomo blew it. He has no one to blame but himself.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was hubris or he's just like getting old and is out of it, but his campaign has just been lackluster to me. He had one weird ad? Yeah, he had weird AI ad this week that was supposed to like be hip or something, and it was just lame. And like you said, Josh, he didn't actually go out and chase down the voters or build a coalition that that could have prevented this from happening. He took 10 days off. He took 10 days off like 2 weeks ago.
It was winnable. It was winnable for him.
Right, but he clearly he was failing. He's trying to fail downward, right? Like, he was terrible as the governor of New York. So he thought, okay, well, I'll go down to New York City, continue. Unfortunately, this is just a product of what's come before him. Bill de Blasio, openly corrupt. Eric Adams, openly corrupt. Cuomo, they're still paying off his settlements for sexual abuse
Yeah.
for the state of New York. He didn't even stand trial for that. He just settled. So it's like you get what you deserve. And then Mamdani comes up and say what you want about Mamdani. You can't even attack him at this point because you have no leg to stand on. And he is slick. He's well-spoken. I saw him on exactly. I saw him on the Flagrant podcast. He's great in real person. Like we have a new era of politics. You can't like Cuomo's almost like a dinosaur at this point. Like you can't do the canned talking points and you show up sometimes, you don't show up other times. It's like Mamdani's the model for how you win elections going forward. Trump actually shows it's not an age thing. Trump won this with the same playbook. Mamdani's showing this is possible. Now, to me, I see this as, and look, this is someone who actually really likes Curtis Sliwa. Like he's New York to the bone, hilarious he went on the Breakfast Club and was like, how do you not love this guy? He's just the most New York guy ever. I think the Guardian Angels have done a lot of good in New York City. He's put a lot of things personally on the line. But I think there are people silently cheering on Mamdani at this point because he becomes now a national foil to Republicans. And I don't even know if that's a great, it kind of just almost is a coping mechanism because what happens is
not me. I
not
don't
you,
want
not
to
you.
know him.
Correct. But I'm just saying for more of the national conversation, I wouldn't get too carried away by this because look what happened to Chicago. Look what happened to LA. Look what happened to all these cities where the same thing happened. They're like, well, it's going to happen, but it's great because they're going to fall on their face and it's going to be fine. All the mechanisms to do what Mamdani wants to do in New York City are available and have been done before. Great example would be the rent freeze. You can appoint as the mayor the people on this board that determines how much rent goes up. And so if you want to appoint everyone and just say, hey, I'll kick you off if you don't do zero, and freeze it, you can do it. It's already been done by Bill de Blasio in 2019, which arguably led us to the position where we have rent frozen apartments that landlords actually don't even want to take care of because it's not even profitable for them to rent them out. It'd be better for them to just let them sit and rot and get insurance to come, which they're doing, zombie apartments. So there's a combination of all the mechanisms are available for him to do what he wants, and he's very charismatic, and the attacks against him are so disingenuous. Like I remember he was on the debate stage, and they're like, where do you want to visit? And of course, everyone said Israel because you have to in New York City because of the Jewish presence. And he's like, no, I'm actually just going to stay in New York City. And then, now people get to attack him for being anti-Semitic, which at this point, it just inflames a debate in which nothing's there. If you're actually just paying attention, he is laser focused on affordability in New York City, in which 1 in 4 New Yorkers can't afford. So it's like, to me, it's too far gone and everything's at his disposal. It's high stakes because does it pay off? I don't know. Do you move all these people out of New York City, the billionaires, et cetera? I think it's a really bad situation. And I do think it's great momentum for Democrats who desperately need it. There's also the national thing going on where there's no voice for the party. There's no future going forward. And this is just a layup for someone who is moderately good at media, can speak, and gets to now be the torchbearer for Democrats. I don't think this is good at all. I think he's actually much better primed than, say, Gavin Newsom on a national level to be successful after this. But I know he can't run for president, but he might still be kind of the Beto O'Rourke of the party.
This weekend, Mamdani was talking about his aunt. It was, she would stop taking the subway after 9/11 because she did not feel safe in her job. Yeah. And it's like, first of all, listen, were there a few jackasses in New York City at the time? Yes, of course, there were some. But this idea that there was a spike in violence against Muslims was absolutely false. Hogwash. Yeah. The fact is, every government, city, state, and federal, were working overtime to make sure we don't attack, don't do hate crimes against, so-called, I hate the word hate crimes, but don't target people who are of Islamic descent or Muslim. Does that mean there was zero? No, but there's no wave of this stuff. But it turns out she didn't wear her hijab and she was in Tanzania at the time anyway. Yeah. So whatever. I mean, this guy lies through his teeth. So full of baloney.
Yeah, and nobody will go back and check it. I mean, it's an interesting again, is it hubris? He has it in the bag so he can go out there and basically use 9/11 in New York City and talk about 9/11 without once mentioning the thousands of victims in the towers. The only talking point 9/11 did for him was so he could talk to his Muslim brothers and sisters in New York City.
But that's the currency today. That's what the media loves. And in fact, that's why I was going to save it for my Twilight Zone, but I could probably just do it now. I mean, again, it's the same currency that it just holds such a place, and we absolutely beam it to everyone in the media. So, what's great about diversity in DEI, you get someone like, Biden's press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre. She's asked about this. Don't you have any regrets? I mean, you were shilling for this guy and said he was perfectly fine and healthy and, ready to serve. And So she gets asked this question on MSNBC, a slightly tough question, right? And what does she say? There we go.
Karine, do you have any regrets at all for anything that you said while you were speaking on behalf of this administration? It's a simple yes or no. You don't even know.
No, because you're asking for a yes or no question. I want to put some context to it too. I woke up every day. I woke up every day very proud to be the White House press secretary. I woke up every day as a Black woman who is queer, no one had ever seen someone like me at that podium standing behind that lectern. It was an honor and a privilege to have that job. And I did it to the best of my abilities. And
Karine, do you have
does she honestly think it's like 1983? Like no one, like everyone's shocked, but oh my gosh, wow. Someone who's Black and
how
queer?
transgressive.
Oh my gosh, you know what? You're supposed to just do your whole point over the last decades was like, we should have a right to do the job. You do the job. And then what happens when people question you, you're like, oh, well, let me just talk about my
intersectionality.
Yeah. We don't want to talk about who you had sex with.
To be fair, that's
to answer the question.
Josh, to be fair, that's why she was hired. That's Joe Biden himself said that.
See? So again, this is why DEI is bad, because, it should be the case that the best person gets the job, right? And so that when someone might be Black or Hispanic or Asian or whatever, they got the job because they kill at it. They're awesome.
Josh, that's a white supremacist view, by the way.
Yeah.
I learned that by listening to Governor Hochul actually talk.
I mean, every single Asian in this country is better at me than math, but sure, obviously it's white supremacy.
Yeah, just to get back to like the Mamdani for just a second, in terms of the national import though, because I think, like you said, I mean, New York City, they're all crazy. Like, just let them sit on their little island, Manhattan, and just like burn the place up. But there was, I think, the national interest from the Democratic Party and some of the endorsements that Mamdani was able to garner, like including, I think, Hakeem Jeffries.
Hakeem came through.
Obama.
Last minute endorsement there from Hakeem Jeffries. So Mamdani's success in New York, because it's tied now to these national figures, is going to move that Overton window on the Democratic side even further left. So when we're like, okay, where's the Democratic Party going to go after Trump? How are they going to like regroup? Are they going to go abundance with Ezra Klein? Are they going to go like all out leftist crazies? Like, yeah, that's where this seems to be shifting. They're going to go in that direction, which is going to make it really a lot harder, I think, on more centrist or moderate Democrats to resist, to come back and say, we shouldn't have boys and girls locker rooms, or some of these like 80-20 issues. They're not going to be able to do that because Mamdani is laser focused on the financials in New York City and on affordability. But he's also very, very clear that this is going to be an LGBTQ plus AI divided by minus sign. This is going to be a sanctuary city. Yeah. It's going to be a sanctuary city for illegals. He's going to continue all these far left practices as well.
Okay, here's a question for you, Erica.
Okay.
I have no doubt it will be a boon to socialists and the alphabet crew. But the question is, why does liberalism, progressivism, socialism, all this kind of stuff on the left, why are they so welcoming to radical Muslim extremists?
Yeah.
Now, he himself might actually, I don't know how much of a true believer he is in Muslim, maybe he's an atheist, but like, why is it that the progressive left, which, they say that they're very liberal, open-minded, allow anything, promoting anything, right?
It's open marketplace.
What is the most illiberal thing that you can think of in the entire world? It's radical Islam. Like, they are so against free speech and freedom of association, freedom of worship. I mean, like, just ask Christians who live in majority Muslim countries what these guys believe. They don't believe in the Bill of Rights at all, these radical extremists. Why is it that the left is so welcoming of this, which is, I mean, they're so opposed to Christian conservatives, but we still believe in the Bill of Rights. Of course we do. And But then the radical
They
Islamic.
don't believe in the Bill of Rights either, though. That's the thing, is that it's this. I don't believe that the far left and that socialism believes in the American project. They're not aligned with American foundational principles or democratic values, that they like to use that term so much. They are absolutists. And what I also think is, because they have no respect for God or the laws of man, to quote the little gospel there from last week. Because of that, when they align themselves with radical Islam, they don't take seriously religious ideology, because let's say theistic ideology. I don't think that they reckon or believe that down the road the radical Islamists want their destruction, because they don't believe that anyone would take a belief in God that far, that tearing down America is the common enemy of radical Islam and of the radical left. And so, and we all know, when you have a common enemy, we experienced this last year in the campaign, you can build a pretty strange coalition, right?
I mean, isn't everything seen through the lens of oppressor oppressed? And we're oppressed
Maybe.
by
I mean,
white
I just
Christians
think
right
that
now.
I just think that in the 80s and 90s, the Democrats, the liberal Democrats, had sort of these fantasies about bringing Scandinavian style strong government socialism, where we can have free healthcare and free college.
Denmark, Sweden, and Finland. Like, that's all we heard about. Denmark,
public
Sweden, and Norway.
transportation. Yeah, there's total Scandinavian envy of all these governments or whatever. And now it's not that at all. I mean, it's like it is a more darker, more hardcore, and like I think it would be an absolute disaster for the city of New York. And it would be very bad for our country if Mamdani is elected. And of course, he is now very likely to do so. I mean, like looking at the polls. I mean, it could, like I said, it could turn around. It would have to be a miracle at this point. But the fact is, he is like a harbinger, of revolution. He really does want to bring up. It's like we're not getting these, third way, Clinton Gore type Democrats who just want government investment more in healthcare and all this other stuff. These are radical communist socialist types. I mean, these people are the real deal. They are bone chilling scary. And I think it's if anything, if the only good silver lining I would say is a wake up call. Like, guys, wake up across the country, middle America. This is what they want to do in every corner of the country. And now, of course, you're right. Hakeem Jeffries, he's the leader of the Democrats. He will become Speaker of the House if Democrats win like 10 seats next fall. Mm-hmm. And he just endorsed this communist. Like, what does that tell you? Like, wake up. This is they want a revolution. Like, revolution is a little bit too much. I mean, they took down statues, not just the Confederates. They took statues down of our own presidents, like Jefferson, Teddy Roosevelt. He didn't own any slaves. Why did they take his statue down in New York City? Like, people, wake up to what's going on. These people when they tell you what they want to do, it's time to start believing them.
100%.
On to B block. But before that, Erica.
Yes. Did you know that American homeowners have over $32 trillion in equity, and criminals, not just Zohran Mamdani, but also criminals, are targeting it with a growing scam the FBI calls house stealing? Scammers can transfer your title out of your name using a one-page document they file at the county. Then they take out loans against it or even sell it behind your back. And thanks to AI, they can do it all from Starbucks, as I learned in an interview. And the scariest part, you won't find out about it until the collection or foreclosure notices start arriving in your mailbox, leaving you with a financial and legal nightmare. The best way to protect your equity is with Home Title Lock's exclusive $1 million triple lock protection. This service offers 24/7 monitoring, urgent alerts, and if fraud should occur, their U.S.-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix the fraud and restore your title. Totally worth it. So when was the last time you checked on your title? If you are like me, the answer is never, and that's exactly what scammers are counting on. The good news is we here at LOOPcast have partnered with Home Title Lock to offer you all 60 days for just $1. Click the link in the description below or over in the chat and use promo code LOOP60 to get 60 days for just $1. And You will also get a free title history report to ensure you're not already a victim. Make sure you check out the $1 million triple lock protection details when you get there. Click the link and promo code LOOP60. Thank you, Home Title Lock.
Awesome. Erica, talk to me about Canterbury. What's going on?
Man, here we go. All right, my Anglophile section here. So 2 weeks ago, actually it's now 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, the Church of England, founded by Henry VIII, because he wanted to marry a woman who was not his wife, the Church of England announced a new archbishop, or should I say archbishopress of Canterbury. Who is she? Archbishop Dame Sarah Mullally is a pro-abortion, pro-same-sex marriage woman. This was a long time in coming. All right. Today's a point.
No one's
So
shocked.
it was lauded by the King of England, who's the head of the church. It was lauded by all the bishops of England as at last we have achieved gender dominance, because it's like her and half the bishops are women as well. So now the church is run primarily by women, and they're all excited. So this is where Canterbury is. Now, for those of you who don't know, the See of Canterbury, the Archbishop of Canterbury, is the head, the church head of the entire Anglican communion throughout the world. Okay.
Canterbury's like right by London, people, just to give context.
Yeah, it's lovely. You should all visit.
Ancient pilgrimage site.
Right. Yeah. And this totally ended up as a schism within that global communion. There is an organization called the Global Anglican Future Conference, called GAFCON for short. And the head of their council, who is a Rwandan Archbishop, Mbanda, they declared in response on October 16th that GAFCON, not Canterbury, is now leading the global Anglican communion. GAFCON represents over 85% of all practicing Anglicans. They called upon all of their members and member churches to dissociate from any further meetings with the Archbishop of Canterbury and to reject all financial contributions from Canterbury going forward as well. They said in the letter, or in the statement, I love this line, "We have not left the Anglican communion. We are the Anglican communion." So it seems everyone's just like, yeah, this is what happened. And when I say it was a long time coming, it's because GAFCON was actually founded back in 2008 when the Episcopalian Church, which is part of the Anglican Communion, approved homosexual practices, which is, code for sodomy and mutual masturbation, saying that this was, so GAFCON was founded back then. And then it was the appointment of the Archbishop of Canterbury as a woman that just tipped everything over.
Dare I say this is a pretty natural evolution after King Henry split from the Catholic Church?
Mean, yeah, when your church was founded by a guy, because the Pope didn't annul your marriage, it seems like the breakdown of marriage in your doctrine would be on
the slow march of progress through the institution. However, don't you have in England that Catholics now outnumber Anglicans?
Yes, this is really interesting. Native Brits, in addition, so the GAFCON is primarily in the global south. We've got most of Africa, Asia, South America. Native Britons are also picking up on Canterbury's, what I will call spiritual bankruptcy. Catholics are outnumbering now Anglicans in Britain for the first time since 1527, when the Anglican Church was founded, with growth spearheaded by Gen Z, young churchgoers, who outnumber their Anglican counterparts by more than 2 to 1. So the times they are changing. That being said, as in raw number terms, the practicing Christians in Britain are still very, very tiny percent of the population, and that has to change. Britain has other issues right now. But one of the interesting questions here, I wanted to look at, how did a bunch of Africans end up in charge of Henry VIII's church? So when the sun never set on the British Empire, of course, part of the British colonialism was bringing the Anglican Church to all these different parts of the world. And the native-born peoples of Africa, India, also huge Anglican population there, they joined the Anglican Church. But what the Anglicans found was that as the Anglican bishops abandoned the gospel, you can think of back to 1930 when the Lambeth Conference approved artificial birth control, for example, was kind of the first blow. The native-born people in Africa and India did not. They didn't. They wanted to keep the gospel. So that it's a case of the Britons.
They didn't think children was a bad thing.
Right. They wanted children. They liked marriage. They wanted to stay. And it's a really interesting history of not so much the English abandoning the gospel as the people who they evangelized staying true to the gospel through history. And that's how you end up with GAFCON and the entire Anglican Church going to the global south, primarily to Africa.
There's so much I could say about this.
Yeah, there 2 points for Catholics on this I wanted to make, and then we're just going to let Josh have a rip at it. I think it really illustrates how the future of Christianity is literally African. Like, that's where all the people are. In terms of number, there are 5 million more adherents to Christianity today than 125 years ago. Africa is projected to be the home of 1 out of every 3 Catholics in the world by 2050. And in our church, remember the reaction to Fiducia Supplicans, right? Pope Francis's order to bless same-sex couples. Yeah, big thumbs down from the African bishops on that one. And it's a really interesting
which
story.
also wasn't just we kind of don't like this. It's like, no, we actually literally deal with this problem right now.
Well, and again, the liberals in the church just thought, oh gosh, now we got to deal with the conservatives in France and the United States are going to roll their eyes at this. And it's like the Africans from the back are like, this stinks. What are you doing this for? We're not up for this. And we're like, hey, all right.
Yeah, this was a fun story from 1977. So European missionaries and Catholic bishops from Europe were expressing a concern in the Vatican, following Vatican II, that the church in Africa was, quote, too focused on the reality of evil spirits and backward sexual mores, and they should instead focus more on Catholic social justice. And the Archbishop of Lusaka, Emmanuel Malingo, he basically told the European cardinals to stop condescending to Africans. He said at one of these big global post-Vatican II meetings, he stood up and said, "We believe that Europe, as a grandmother of us, should now worry much more about her problems of old age than about us." That's for you, Josh. That was for you.
Well,
man.
First
They're
of all,
like, guys.
I just want to say, now, if I heard you right at the beginning, you said when this announcement was made and a woman became the head of the Anglican Church,
yes.
Well, the Archbishop, because of course the head of the church is actually the monarch, the King of England, right? And what did the King of England say to this great rupture that you have now a woman leading the episcopacy? You're saying that King Charles was, what was it again? He was supportive of her.
Yes, very supportive of her.
I would just like to let some of the neo-monarchists in the Catholic circles online just ponder that moment, because they're like, oh, this American Republic is so terrible because it started out as so anti-Catholic.
We need a benign
we need a king and all this
wait,
stuff.
wait,
really?
wait.
You want a king?
We could do a whole episode of this. What is neo-Marxist? That is so
neo-monarchist.
Neo-monarchist.
I know. Neo-monarchist, you just threw that out as a little grenade and didn't expound at all. You're suggesting there's people within America that are kind of like...
There's a subset
you
of
ever read The
Catholics
Lamp?
online
Of course I do, yeah.
who really think we should have a monarchy and that it would be great if we just had a king. And I'm like, have you seen some of the kings we got? I mean, King Charles in England. Like, this is what you would end up with. Like, no thanks. I'll take my chances electing somebody like J.D. Vance or Donald Trump. Thank you very much. So I just want to get that little in there. On
Josh, on the record, not a neo-monarchist.
That's right. Now, I also think I did kind of celebrate this election of Sarah as the new Archbishop of Canterbury. There's in history, there's a battle. It was more than 500 years before Christ was born, in which this king approached the Oracle of Delphi because he wanted to know, hey, what's going to happen? I'm thinking about attacking the Persians. And, so he asked the Oracle, what's going to happen? He goes, if you attack, a great empire will fall. And the king's like, yeah, this is awesome. Sweet. So he goes and he attacks. And what happens? His empire is the one that falls. Ruh-roh. And so I just can't help but just echo the Oracle of Delphi and say, with this election, with Sarah being elected the Archbishop of Canterbury, this will be the source of many conversions.
Yes.
Okay. And we might have one of those
Out of the
neo-Marxists,
Anglican Church.
neo-monarchists in the chat, Q-Decius, if you'd like to levy your defense of monarchy in America. Feel free to have at it in the chat.
All right, we're gonna have to reserve a segment one of these days
for niche
neo-
political theories. Like we're gonna have to do the integralists. We're gonna have to do the neo-monarchists.
Super
We're
fun.
gonna have to go over the anarcho-capitalists. Like there's a lot of fun stuff going on in the niche political discourse. Okay, on to good news now, Erica.
Oh yeah, this was so cool. We're starting to get the first footage of the almost completed Carmelite monastery and attached church in Wyoming. So this has been making the rounds, and I just got to pull up some beautiful architecture. I love this because you look at the building, which Pogo's going to put up for me. You look at the building and you're like, oh, somebody went to France and took some pictures. No, this is in Wyoming.
Yeah,
Look, check this out. This is the Carmelite monks out in Wyoming. They've been working on it for, over 10 years now, and it's nearing completion.
Love seeing this in
the
modern
tonsure.
times.
These are hardcore, like discalced original.
Great haircuts.
John of the Cross. Yep, the little.
What do you call
there.
They're called tonsures.
Yep, tonsure.
Goes hard.
Yeah, it does. It does. Even look at that door. It literally looks like this is what Chart must have looked like originally when it was first built. So
Wyoming,
very cool.
Strangely, hear me out,
Yeah.
kind of the perfect place for this.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I feel like
I
you
agree.
could get monastery vibes in Wyoming. It gets really cold. It's kind of a harsh place to live, but very beautiful. I feel like this is a perfect place for a monastery in America.
And fun fact, just to round this out, the architectural firm the monks have been working with, there's all their little cells. That was kind of cool shot there.
Yeah.
The architectural firm the monks have been working with, same guys who are designing the new ballroom.
Oh my gosh, they're responsible
East
for that
wing of the
assault.
White House, baby. Oh, there goes.
I love it.
They're responsible for the assault on our democracy.
Yes,
taking
they
place?
are.
Okay.
I mean,
They're also responsible for your camera going out.
Yeah. The camera guys got me. Okay, continue. I gotta fix my camera.
All right.
Let's see what's going on.
Anyway, it's McCreary Architects.
yeah.
They do a lot of church stuff. So we are clearly, Trump has chosen well if they're the same guys designing the monks out in Wyoming. Okay, Josh, good news.
All right, so my good news, we have entered a new era. It actually started when Mitch McConnell said no to filling the seat that was vacated with the death of Antonin Scalia. No more asymmetrical warfare. So often the left would attack our institutions, our mores, everything about it. And Republicans, their typical response, George W. Bush, John McCain, Mitt Romney was like, well, we have to constrain and confine ourselves to these rules, even though the left will never do them. No. We're not doing this asymmetrical warfare anymore. Okay. We're going to make them live by their own rules. And only then can we actually get about and change things. So as I've said before, Massachusetts has got 10 representatives in Congress. 40% of the people are Republican voters, and yet 0 Republican seats.
Zip.
New Mexico, 45% Republican. There's 3 congressional seats, 0 Republicans. New England, 0. All of New England.
Yeah.
And so it's time for enough of this. Like Illinois, again, 45% Republican, and there's only 4 seats and the other 13 are for Democrats. So now states like Texas and North Carolina have passed new maps. And they're saying, look, if they're going to gerrymander maximalists to the extreme as a way to try to take over the House, we're not going to call for this anymore. So today, Indiana Republican Governor Mike Braun has called for a special session of the Indiana legislature.
Whoa.
Let's go. He said we're going to talk about redistricting. And there's currently 9 seats in the Indiana legislature, in the 9 congressional seats out of Indiana. Right now, Republicans have a 7-2 advantage. But the fact is, Indiana is a very conservative state. And it's like, let's go. And so now here we have the prospect of the Indiana legislature, which is all controlled by the Republicans, of passing a new map. And there's a proposed map that's shown online. I have it here below. It would make this Indiana 9-zip. And every seat would be massively safe Republicans. And
Go
like
Hoosiers.
if Democrats squawk about this, like, wait a minute, this first district up in the upper left, you're taking Gary and you're cutting it in, kind of in half. And Indianapolis is being split into 2 different districts. And you guys did the same thing when you had the maps back in the 1990s.
Just check out the neighbor. Have you seen Illinois? It's the most gerrymandered state in the union. Are you kidding me?
It's insane. So I'm all for it. And if anyone wants to say, like, let's have the true and fair thing, I've said this before. If you want to have it completely fair, you can decide to make every state assign their seats in Congress by proportion. So if Democrats get 40% of the vote in Texas, they get 40% of the House seats. You could do that if you want, but we got to all come together. But we're not going to play this asymmetrical warfare anymore, where you go to the extreme and we just kind of sit there and twiddle our thumbs and lecture about fairness and get our butts whooped. We're not doing that anymore. We're going to fight back, and we're going to make you guys play by the same rules that you've made us play under.
Yeah, welcome.
And then we can come together and talk about a bipartisan solution. But until then, we got to quash this communist revolution.
Yeah, it's like, welcome to the new, we're not the Washington Generals anymore. It's like they did the equivalent of changing from the Redskins to the Commanders. Now we're not the Generals. We're the Washington something else now. You can think of a new name.
The reference I made to before about the Washington Generals, that's the hapless basketball team. Because, the Globetrotters, the Harlem Globetrotters is great. It's fun to watch. It's entertaining. These guys, they do all these funny tricks and passing the basketball and all that kind of stuff. But they're not on the court empty. They need to have 5 hapless guys that go, what? Okay. Oh my gosh, you just dunked on me. And that team is called the Washington Generals. It's just
AKA the Republican Party from about 2000 to 2020.
And that's what the Republican Party was for the first half of this.
Can I just do a fun fact really quickly?
Yeah.
My dad was on the Washington Generals for an appearance at the University of New Hampshire.
Come on.
Yeah. Like, actually?
Yeah, I mean, he was in one game.
It was still awesome.
You're making this up.
No.
Was he a Washington General then?
The Globetrotters came to the state university in our hometown, and my dad got to play against them.
And all he had to do is not do well.
Yeah, he got to experience what it was like to be a Republican for 20 years.
I mean, it was therapeutic.
I'm a senator from Nebraska, but I won't do anything.
Sounds awesome.
Not picking on you, Rick. It's just the first state that came to my mind.
All right. So, okay. All right. You're going to hear me, I guess. What the heck? They really don't want to hear my message.
It's all right.
So
we love you, not just for your looks, Tom, but also for your deep thoughts and your.
Thank you. You're probably not going to see me. I don't know what's going on with the camera. I honestly never do. So I'm going to tie in my good news with the C block here. So state of campus debate is what I'm calling this section. So I saw this article from The Atlantic about someone at Stanford. So it's called The Appeal of the Campus Right. It's not about Donald Trump by Julia Steinberg. So she came into campus as a liberal and essentially had a pretty standard, I'd say, campus experience for someone that comes in wanting to be really liberal, wanting to be a part of the activism, kind of like socialist, democratic left is kind of like what's popular. And she found after 2020 and the appetite for disagreement on campus was really stifled on the left. So she found this kind of underground conservative movement at Stanford and kind of what they're talking about. It's funny, they were mentioning some of the divides that we talked about here, that there's neo-monarchists there, there's techno-optimists, there's like a new brand of like conservative ideas that you can now just openly debate. And it's not just about Trump, it goes further.
It's a much more diverse community of ideas. Yeah.
Yes. So it's funny. I saw that. I was like, awesome. Great to hear. And then I pop over to Boston College and I see Nick Solheim. He's the CEO of American Moment. It's a right-wing youth organization. He delivered a speech to Boston College Republicans on Monday night. And I'm reading the write-ups on it. And of course, like BC Heights, quote, "They will kill you. BC Republican speaker urges audience to be willing to die for conservative beliefs." Here's Nick. And funny, I mean, I'm going through this and I'm doing the read up on it. Like, did he say anything really crazy? Were there even protests? I mean, I was looking, he posted this picture of a very similar. So I had a similar experience. I spoke to young college Republicans at Marian University. It's a small Catholic university here in Indianapolis, and a very similar experience. I probably had similar turnout. It looks to be about 20 kids, maybe a little bit more, from a young College Republicans Club, which are typically pretty small at a lot of these liberal universities. And so here's everyone just smiling, thumbs up, really awesome, and seemed like it went really well. So the, I want to say it was the president. I want to get this right. Someone disavowed his speech and said, we disavow Nick Solheim, inflammatory rhetoric. Here's the post on that, which was hilarious what they did in response. But so here's the exact statement. Boston College Republicans have denounced Nick Solheim, CEO of American Moment, tied to staffing for the Trump administration. Following his speech, the Boston College Republicans invited Jake Auchincloss. He's a Massachusetts congressman to give a, quote, different perspective. And so upon a brief Google search, he's a liberal,
be a different perspective.
right? He's a liberal Democrat
Right.
and he voted to impeach Trump. So I'm like, what is the opposite perspective of what as a Republican club? Like you have to be embarrassed to be Republican or conservative on campus to the point where you have to go through a humiliation ritual of inviting someone who disagrees with everything you do to speak to your club members. Like, I'm all for open debate, but like, what happened here? And the College Republicans chapter stated, Mr. Solheim's views and rhetoric were unprecedented and unrepresentative of the views of our club members, and we do not endorse any of these views. And again, look at this picture. What about this suggests that he came in and threw some bombs that everyone was like, we can't agree with this. I found the speech. Okay, so I found the speech, and I actually want to just read because I read all the write-ups on it, and hysterical what people took away from this. Like, it's almost like we forgot, the founding of our country and what people actually believed. So I'm going to read some of the speech because I think it's worth getting in its entirety. And I will say, Nick is available for free to come speak at your college. So if you want to hear from Nick, he will go, he'll cover it. And I think it's worth hearing this speech.
He paid his own way to get to Boston.
Yes, because he's from DC area. And he said, thank you for all of you for being so hospitable to me. This is my first time ever in Boston. I'm glad it's not to schmooze or raise money, but to be here with a bunch of young people who, God willing, will help us take our country back. As an American history nerd, it's a shame I haven't been to Boston before, the cradle of the American Revolution, the genesis of true ordered liberty, and the bastion of the Federalist movement of our early national fathers. Many of you, I'm sure, have been so deeply radicalized by the times in which we live. Political assassinations, mass shootings by leftist ideologues, attacks on the administration of law and justice, and so on, that you are now programmed to zone out at the mention of the hallowed conservative phrase, the founders. There is truth to many of the great things said about the founders. They were great men who engaged in high-minded debate about the future of our country. They would be disgusted by our nation's current trajectory, and yes, they would have let you own an AR-15. But lest you start to tune me out and drift away with thoughts of all the books you need to read and the papers you must write this week, that's not where I'm going with this. Here are the ages of some of the founders in 1776 when America declared independence from British tyranny. James Monroe, 18 years old. Alexander Hamilton, 21 years old. Aaron Burr, who I might add is the previous man's murderer, 20 years old. James Madison, 25 years old. John Jay.
Dual murder. But...
John Jay, 29 years old. Thomas Jefferson, 33-year-olds. Let's take a beat here. James Monroe, 18 years old in 1776, joined the Continental Army, where he crossed the Delaware River with George Washington, fought at the Battle of Trenton, and eventually became a member of the Continental Congress and later our fifth president, where he acquired the state of Florida and crafted the Monroe Doctrine. And he gets into some of the accomplishments of the Founding Fathers. Now, you might think that what I'm saying is that you all need to get off your ass and start doing something with your real life. And let's get this out of the way. I am going to say that, but I want to start with much.
That's worth it.
Very good.
He said, but I want to start with a much more important and heavy exhortation. You need to be willing to be killed. Let me say that one more time. You need to be willing to be killed. The young men who founded our country and loved it with everything they had knew that if they lost the war, which was a likely prospect, that they would be hung. And not only would they be hung, but it would be a public spectacle, and they would be killed in the town square in front of their wives, their children, their friends, and their neighbors. You might be thinking, okay, man, we're not at war now. We live in different times. Do we? Was Charlie Kirk, an inoffensive, kind, Christian man who was raising kids my own kids' age, not just murdered for the entire world to see? And at No King's protests over the weekend, were Antifa and libtard professors not mocking that assassination, saying that Charlie Kirk deserved it, and they can't wait to see it happen to the rest of us. Have we not had 2 shootings in the last 2 years where Christian children were murdered by transsexual deviants, made an example of? No, this is what we do to Christians and to your children if you don't shut up and obey. How many have there not been many times attempted to murder the president who has been given the authority by God as our ruler and administrator, law and justice? And they want to kill him because he's a symbol of what you voted for. Do they not allow, encourage, and make excuses for mass violence? Everything from George Floyd riots to attacks on ICE officers to senseless murder where insane and vile men slit the throat of innocent passerby. So here's the question I have for you. Are you willing to die? Because it's not just people like me, like Charlie Kirk, like President and Vice President they'll kill, given the chance. There are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people in America who would kill you for just being in this room. College Republicans, they're Nazis, they vote for Nazis, they have to die. Make no mistake, everyone who has been killed so far has been killed because they are a representation of you. They are you, and that is what we are up against. So now that we've set the stakes, what is it that we need to be willing to die for? And then he gets on, it's a great speech. I highly recommend the entire reading of it. It gets into more of the substance of his argument of what we need to die for. But that was offensive enough for this college Republicans group to disavow, not just like say, hey, you're not invited anymore, but disavow as if somehow you do not represent the ideals of campus debate. I mean, I'm thinking of all the crazy speakers they have people.
Congressman, a liberal,
and invite a liberal congressman for opposite views. What is the opposite view of this? This is objectively what our founding fathers died for, and we've been lulled into sleep by this disgusting materialism in which I can have my little corner and I'll be fine. This kind of libertarian, in my opinion, nonsense, where you just can have your own little corner. Nothing bad's going to happen. Wake up. Like, I'm fired up by this speech too, because I'm 27. I have young kids the same age as Charlie Kirk. Someone shot at him because of his political beliefs that were not even offensive. John Jay said he wanted to murder his colleagues' kids so that they could feel pain. We talked about the politics at stake of what's in New York City right now. If this isn't enough for you to get up and do something in your community, actually run for office, actually vote at bare minimum, express your views publicly to people that might disagree with you a little bit.
With your
seriously,
yeah.
Wake up. I like, if anything, this speech needs to be amplified much further. That's why I read part of it on here, because I was so inspired by it. And he said in the speech, and if I could finish, we need men to go to DC to work. We've gone too long where people have like just advocated, left it for politics nerds or for other people. We need testosterone-filled young men who love their country, who want to make a difference, to start filling these spaces again. There was jokes even made after Trump was elected. All of a sudden, all these men showed up back to DC. You know, the ones with beards and the ones that actually like work out. It was literally a joke because many effeminate men and women left DC under the change of administration because there's a new era here. So it's like, to me, like, let's freaking go. Like, start doing something. Like, I almost feel like I don't even do enough hearing something like this. So I was fired up. I think that's good news in Twilight Zone all in one.
Well, and my Twilight Zone is basically kind of an echo of that. There was this psychopath. His name is Moises Bernal. He was a staffer at Wilbur Wright College. Just to give you an idea of what the academy is like these days. What is it like in academia? He gets up at the No Kings protest and calls on other people to shoot and kill ICE agents. I mean, it absolutely boggles the mind. But thankfully, there is something that could be too far, because this man has been fired. There are some standards left in academia, and he was let go. But I mean, it was absolutely, I was aghast that someone would actually publicly speak, be on camera, everyone could see who this guy is, calling on people to shoot and kill members of law enforcement. Chilling to see. And no one in the audience is like, what the heck, man? They're just like, oh, whatever.
And if I could end, I was trying to look into Nick's radical past worthy of, disavowing, and the latest tweet up here, and I can't agree more. You want to win, overcome evil, and cherish the good? Best thing you can do today is go to church, confess your sin, sing praises, and shake the hand of the guy sitting in the pew next to you. It's really that simple. Don't wait. Today's the day to go and worship the Lord. Jeez, I can't think of a better guy to go talking on campuses to fire up the young people. So shout out Nick Solheim. You got my full support.
Yeah, and a little wake-up call to any parents out there who still think of Boston College as a Catholic college.
Oh,
Like,
it's
"Oh, I'm
I
sending my
saw
kid."
National Catholic
Oh, no, it's
Reporter wrote on
Jesuit,
it. Yeah.
Pogo. This was like this. So
Ugh.
between Boston College and Holy Cross, that was like where good Catholic families sent their smart kids when they graduated high school for 100 years. And
No thanks.
no thanks. Like, we're done. Yeah.
You know what's crazy about this too? Like, how many crazy radical groups do colleges invite speakers from that actually suggest that people should go out and kill people? And what did Nick say? Nick said you should be willing to die.
To be killed, right?
To be killed. He didn't even suggest that someone go out and do some type of radical violence, as we see just about everywhere, including the largest leftist Twitch streamers say, what's his name? Hassan Piker. Like out loud on camera to everyone, change only comes through bloodshed. And he's not even suggesting that. He's just saying you should be so willing to stand up for what you believe in is correct that you could die for it. And that's a possibility. What's your price? Is your price just a few bucks to go show for whatever cause someone wants you to? Or is your blood at stake? Like, what's your price? If you have no price, it means you're going to die. So disband whatever garbage organizations are on your campus that are going to be so offended by such basic American speech that you can't even invite someone to say something like this, and start a new one. Seriously, if you're in college and you want to actually have some debate, Turning Point USA is sure starting up a ton of chapters. Go find one. If you don't even agree with that, fine, start your own. But like, college is where you should actually be having these type of conversations, these type of debates. I'm happy it's happening at Stanford and some underground level, but like, guys, like, what is college if you can't have these kind of discussions? Seriously. That's all I got. I'm so fired up on this. Shout out.
I love
Nick.
it, brother. That's
Awesome.
good.
All right. Josh, you got yours out of the way. Erica, I think you
I'm
got a
it.
clean sweep
This
here.
is
Yeah.
it.
Twilight Zone.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm just so Argentina had their midterm elections, and sure enough, Javier Milei's government swept the Argentina midterm elections. So he got an overwhelming majority on Congress, and he has a mandate for his basically proposed austerity free market revolution ideas. And this was not the clip I wanted. Hold on, I am totally finding this because it's worth it. So everyone knows Javier Milei.
He was not expected to win like this. That I can tell you that much.
No. In fact, yeah, conventional wisdom is the party in power loses in the midterms. Here it is. I found it. But everyone knows Javier Milei of the axe and chainsaw wielding fame was once and first gained his fame as a rock star / TV star. And so when he won, here's what that footage looked like. He's coming out and he's got majority government now.
Where'd you send this? Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry, in the private chat. And I want you to just watch his security guards. Here he comes.
Oh, these security guards are probably
coming out to the crowd. And yep.
Yeah, dog.
The security guards start running. Oh, wait, he switches direction. And he's
What's up with didn't Trump say they were gonna bail them out in some fashion? Like they were gonna give them money?
Well, they just cut a deal for $20 billion to shore up Argentina as an America outpost. So we talked last time about how Venezuela and Colombia have become outposts for Russia, Iran, and China to get goods and services over here to the Western Hemisphere. Well, Trump really wanted to shore up our relationship with Argentina. And he and Javier Milei, I mean, Milei is a populist ruler and has a populist, a free market approach that Trump very much identifies with. So the two of them work together apparently very well. And they're both TV stars. So they got a lot to talk about over coffee and drinks.
Yeah, they're characters.
Yep. So congrats, Argentina.
All right,
Turns out Argentinians like it when their inflation rates go from 140% a year down to like 2.6% a year. They liked it.
Okay.
Like more of this.
My Twilight Zone I've been waiting to do all day, talk about things worth dying for. This is just,
oh no.
I almost hate even giving them attention, but all right. This is one of my favorite. Of course, we got National Catholic Reporter. I don't even know why I
Reporter is
give
the
this airtime.
communist one.
Here's the headline. While out of sync with lay Catholics, conservative young priests are the future of the U.S. church.
Wait, what?
I mean, I feel like we just had to add a few words here. While out of sync with lay liberal boomer Catholics.
Yep.
Accurate.
Conservative priests are.
Adjectives there.
And it was a guest voice. So I was like, who's the guest voice? Oh, it's Thomas Reese, Father Thomas Reese.
Yes,
Longtime editor of America magazine.
Well,
Kicked out of
was
America,
kicked off as the editor by the Pope. So he's still grinding that axe. For decades, older priests have complained about conservative younger priests who have been coming out of seminaries in recent years, while these younger priests have complained about old liberal priests. The views of younger priests are especially important because they are the future of the American church. Us old guys are dying off. The 2025 National Study of Catholic Priests, released this month by the Catholic Project and the Catholic University of America, give us data on which we're going to reflect as the church faces its future. So it just showed that it's more conservative. Here we have the graph. I mean, wow. Before 1975 to 2010 or later is quite the shift in. We have conservatives, that bright red, very conservative, now actually makes an appearance. That's 7%. I don't even think it was a percentage point at the one before this. I got down to the bottom. Oh, they even go by variation in priorities by ordination cohort.
So how in other words, how important is climate change to very liberal priests, somewhat liberal priests, somewhat conservative priests, very conservative priests? They do this for each of these issues: immigration, LGBTQ, poverty, Eucharistic devotion, access to the traditional Latin Mass, racism, social justice, and synodality.
Yeah,
of course.
But what do you think that was? Especially disconcerting is the low support of synodality, a priority for Francis that fell on deaf ears with most younger priests. For all its popularity inside and outside the American church, the Francis papacy did not have an impact on these priests.
Yeah. How is this disconcerting? Anyone who was paying attention to the effect of synodality.
Because we knew it was a sham. The whole point is like the idea behind synodality is we should listen to the people. Okay, then, first of all, we expect leadership from the church. But if synodality means you can actually listen to the people, then maybe you're not going to crush the traditional Latin Mass like it's like a Christmas ornament underneath your heel. Like I don't even go to the Latin Mass. I just don't think you should persecute it. It's so stupid, And if you're actually going to listen to us and what we have to say on a lot of these other things, like don't water it down. Like talk about confession, talk about the need for the sacraments. Like, the people in the pews love that, but you're not really interested truly in what people say. It's just a mechanism to promote outside voices to say things that you're too embarrassed to say, lefty stuff.
Whatever the answer, the National Study of Catholic Priests raises concerns about the future of priestly ministry in the American Catholic Church. If the younger clergy aggressively push their political and theological views on Catholic people, church attendance will continue downwards, and fewer Americans will identify as Catholic. That is a shocking takeaway.
Oh, wow. If younger clergy...
Why is church attendance on the continue downward? Because of all the crazy... I feel like I'm taking crazy pills here. You would think that a change...
We're turning it around finally.
Seriously. It's almost like the downward trend happened far beyond the dawn of these... what do I see? Theological views? What do you mean theological views? They're the views of the church.
It's the church. It's just church teaching. Guys,
it's so
we
simple.
have experienced liberal priests for the last 40 years, and what does it rot?
It's so simple. Like we're not asking for a lot here. We're asking for
the
orthodox theological teachings worth dying for.
Yes.
We're asking for
no one is willing to die for synodality. Let me just shoot that out there for anyone concerned about what the young people are thinking about. It was a sham. It's always been a sham. Like people are willing to die for the person of Jesus Christ, and it's so easy. You have it. Like you have it. And so I guess this is nice because we get to
all is in your hands.
We get to be optimistic here. Like the younger priests understand this, and it's just so obvious to anyone who's my age. Like there's no social advantage to being a priest anymore. You don't get invited into the polite circles of society, and it's a great opportunity because this like deep nihilism that has swept over people of just nothing matters. There's going to be more. Pope Leo, I think, has accurately identified the concerns of AI, how that's going to change society, how it's going to change work, how it's going to change The family, like, we have the answers, you have the treasures, and we're just giving them. And it's that simple. I'm so excited for this next
Yeah.
generation of priests. Like, they have their work cut out for them, and they are needed so desperately, especially in the West, that just, we have a lot of material excess, but there's just a spiritual rot that just needs to be addressed. And
well, and I guess what Father Reese should ask himself is that if so few priests today are liberals, you know, how come? I mean,
Why is that?
Why is that? Did liberal Catholics who have been trying to undermine the church every step of the way for the last 30, 40 years, did none of their children want to become priests? Huh. I wonder why. I wonder why it is that people who actually over the last 30, 40, 50 years heroically have pushed against this tide and said, no, we need to stay true to Catholicism. We need to stay true to the church's eternal teachings. We need to say no to the sexual revolution. These families are the ones that had children that entered the priesthood. So, you know, not a surprise to me.
Nope.
so awesome.
Great way to end
This
it.
is so sick. The future is
I'm
bright.
pumped.
This is so
Future's
sick.
so bright. I got to wear
This was
shades.
this was like the happiest Twilight Zone you've had in a month, Pogos.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
Love it. I know.
It's been a minute. I usually go pretty dark. Okay, good show, guys. Hey, we've had some good stuff come out last week. So I talked to Seamus on Friday. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And then Eric had a fantastic edition of The Deep. I think is worth bringing up again with the No Kings protesters. So if you guys haven't checked that one out, go check it out now. More good stuff coming this week. You want to help us out, join the Champions Club. Best way to help us, CatholicVote.org/champions is the way to do that. Thank you to all of our champions listening today. Josh suggested kind of offhand he wanted to do a Josh mailbag. So if you have questions for Josh, maybe about monarchy, shoot them in. I'd love to do a Josh mailbag section. So shoot them over. I got to get through the email inbox this week, but we'll get on that. So we're going to end with a prayer. We have a morning prayer written by St. Therese. If anyone wants to join, I have to wait a few seconds. Apparently I've been cutting it off, and someone emailed and was very frustrated about that. And I respected. He followed up twice on it. So I'm going to wait. We're going to get the full prayer in there. So if you guys want to just start, I am making the sign of the cross behind my blank screen right now. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Oh my God, I offer thee all my actions of this day for the intentions and for the glory of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. I desire to sanctify every beat of my heart, my every thought, my simplest works, by uniting them to its infinite merits. And I wish to make reparation for my sins by casting them into the furnace of its merciful love. Oh my God, I ask of thee for myself and for those whom I hold dear, the grace to fulfill perfectly thy holy will, to accept for love of thee the joys and sorrows of this passing life, so that we may one day be united together in heaven for all eternity. Amen. St. Thomas More, St. Fidelis, Our Lady of Guadalupe, pray for us. I need to figure out the perfect amount of time to wait so it doesn't cut it off.
You're doing great.
Yeah. So I think that's probably good enough time.